All right, we got about 1 minute till we start. I'm Nathan, and I know my name says Greg Cowart, but I'm actually not Greg Cowart. I'm Nathan Conway, and I work on the team with Matt, who's going to be hosting us this evening, and I'm going to be facilitating in the background. Um, so I'll just ask if you'll just try to keep your questions to the question sections. We have a few little breaks in the PowerPoint where we'll go over questions. But if something comes up in between those, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat, and that way we'll be sure to get to them and we won't forget about them. But yeah, Matt will kind of lead us off, and then I'll jump in from time to time as well. Matt, are you ready to get us started?
Let's go. Um,
Awesome.
Alrighty, yeah, we're officially at 6:05, so we'll get rocking and rolling. If someone jumps in late, we'll catch them up. But welcome to Budget Like a Boss, everybody. As Nathan said, my name is Matt, and I'm a mortgage consultant here on the Cowart team, and we are super passionate about budgeting. We feel like it's one of the biggest tools you can utilize when trying to build wealth. This is a budget that we all use as a team. We all share our budgets as a team. That is how much we believe in it. So we're super excited to share this with you today. All righty. House rules. We will end on time. You will end today at 6:45. I promise to get you out on time. No one likes to sit here wondering when things will end. We'll move quickly. We'll take breaks for questions and know that it is okay to be overwhelmed. This is a lot of information coming to you at once. Some of it won't really make sense until you start putting it into practice. Know that we'll go over resources where you can revisit all of this information at a later time if you need to. So it's not just this one presentation and then good luck. We have lots of different resources to help you on your budgeting journey. And you'll also get a recording of the video for this week's budget like as well. No, you have. Thank you so much for coming. A little bit about who we are. We are a local mortgage team here in Richmond, Virginia. We're backed by a huge corporate company who is one of the top 15 mortgage lenders in America, which allows us to have a super small business feel, but still have all the tools of a big mortgage company. We help over 5,000 families here in Virginia buy homes, and we are super confident in being able to help make you confident when buying a house through coordinating and coaching you through what needs to be done. We're a little bit different. We are super consultative, interactive, and high touch. We are not online, fill out an application, here's your pre-approval letter type of people. We want to make sure that we talk, listen, advise, and give you customized plans. We get you into debt by helping you buy a house. So we also want to help get you out of debt, which is kind of where the budgeting part comes into play. These are some interesting statistics about wealth in America. Um, 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings accounts. US household debt is at an all-time high. 62% of US wealth comes from the equity in the home, and 66% of Americans own a home. So that's why we really believe in home buying as a tool for building wealth, and budgeting helps you with the home buying process. So that's why we are here this evening. You will leave today with a monthly budget Excel spreadsheet. We'll show you where to download it and edit it. It's yours to play with. There'll be a guide on explaining the concepts and how to get started, instructions that walk you through step by step, access to a podcast where you can listen and follow along to do the budget. Again, a recording of today's presentations, and then we'll show you where you can access all of this information on our website as well. Before we get started, just a couple of quick tips. When you're working the budget on your own, listen along with the podcast while working and work at your own pace. Everything's available online. Break it down into small chunks if it gets too overwhelming. And don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. Call, text, or email. Know that we do this budgeting seminar every quarter, so please feel free to come back and join us, share your progress, ask more questions. And at some point, we'll be coming out with a Budget Like a Boss 2.0, where if you've done the budget 2 or 3 times, you're kind of ready for the next level. No, today is just a starting point, and don't worry about being perfect. This financial discipline is a journey. So the first step is making your money working for you, which is what we're here to learn about today. A little bit about this budget. This has been used by top lenders and realtors in our industry for over 20 years. You can't out earn or confuse this sheet. It is perfect for beginners and also works really well for complex earners. It's a really great place to start with a monthly budget. As I mentioned earlier, our team has been using this sheet for almost 10 years. With our background in education and counseling, we're passionate about, again, the financial education part that goes into home buying and being more than just a mortgage. As we talked about, only 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their savings account. So to lay the foundation, the first step we want to do is work to save $1,000. So the first thing you're going to do is work to have $1,000 in an emergency fund. From there, we'll work to save 1 month of reserves. So reserves is how much money you need for 1 month in order to survive if you didn't have a job or you didn't have money coming in. And we'll kind of show you how to calculate that survival number to come up with what your reserves need to be. Once you have your $1,000 in emergency fund and you have 1 month of reserves, you'll then start working to pay off high interest rate consumer debt using the debt snowball method. And then from there, we'll work to save 3 months reserves or 3 months of our survival number. So don't worry about paying off credit cards until you have that $1,000 in the emergency fund and 1 month of reserves and savings. And the reason we say that is if you put all your money towards your credit cards and then something happens and you can't pay your bills and you put all that money back on credit cards, you're right back where you started. So before we start paying down cards, we want to make sure we have a good nest egg in case there is an emergency. We'll move on to the next part in just a minute, but before we do either of you have any questions, Kara or Justin?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Justin, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in or pop.
Yeah, I'm
Rock and rolling. So, just some wealth wisdom from the Cowart team. Completing a monthly budget is what we believe is the most critical part of discipline for wealth building. It's important to tell your money where it's going, not wonder where it's going. You don't save what is left after spending. Instead, you spend what is left after saving. So you want to save first. Budgeting is going to be a really vulnerable form of honesty where you really will look, oh my gosh, this is how much money I'm spending on XYZ each month. Again, you cannot out earn financial discipline. You've heard the saying, more money, more problems, right? So even as you're earning, there's going to be more expenses. So you still want to make sure you're on top of your money and know where it's going. We have a big saying here, chop wood, which is just pretty much the same thing as progress versus perfection. Don't worry about being perfect. Just start, every journey starts with the first step. And I love this last line, if you don't get serious about your money, you'll never have serious money, right? So we're ready to get serious and take the next steps, which is why you guys are here today. Some more concepts and words we'll use, things you'll hear about as we're talking through. We only will work on our budget twice a month. So this is not something we're updating every day. We're going to kind of do like they did on the old I forget what they were called, but I just remember the set it and forget it phrase, right? Where we're going to set the budget, we're going to kind of forget about it for a little bit, but we're going to come back and check on it. Budget your time for about 1 hour each month to work on this, 2 times a month. So 2 hours a month, and you'll get faster as you keep working through things. That $1,000 emergency fund you set up, this will become your overdraft. So if you overspend, this kind of keeps you safe, and then you'll just refill that emergency fund each month. We talked a little bit about reserves, and our reserves come from what we call our survival number. And this is just the minimum you can spend each month to get by when times are tight. So not eating out, not, buying new clothes. This is rent or mortgage, utilities, food, bare necessities. We'll also talk about the debt snowball method, and that's just where you're making minimum payments on all your debts and overpaying your smallest debt. So say you have one debt, the monthly payment on that is $50 a month. You start overpaying on that debt until you've paid that off, right? Then you go to debt two, you take the money you were spending on debt one, and you now apply that to debt two. Once you've paid debt two off, you then take the money you were spending on debt one and two and apply that towards debt three. And that really starts to give you some progress and keep the ball rolling. That's why it's called the debt snowball method, because as you pay more debts off, the more you're putting towards debt increases and you're paying it down fast. Is going to give you real progress. An on-deck account. An on-deck account is where your paychecks are auto-deposited for the month you're in now to accumulate for the next month's expenses. So you earn this month and spend the money next month for your expenses. So we want to try to get to a place where we're not waiting for our next paycheck to come through, right? Because we're working on the money we spent last month. Again, we won't all get there overnight, and that's okay. That's a goal we're shooting for. There are some budget 2.0 concepts here. Again, pay yourself first. Once you get down the line a little bit, we'll work to save first before we spend. And then we'll work to set up accounts so you kind of have that fear of zero. So removing excess money from your bills account, so that way you're not spending as much. If you overspend, you'll overdraft. Bank accounts you need. Again, this is not something you have to run out and set up tomorrow to start budgeting, right? You will start to set this up kind of once you get in the groove of things, but you'll have your monthly bills account, and this is where we spend from, and this is where we live. This is where all the money goes and comes out of, right? So your auto drafts will come from here. You'll buy your groceries from here. This is kind of your main spending account. You'll have your overdraft or your emergency account. Kind of think of that living underneath your bills account. And this is where that $1,000 emergency fund will live. And if you overdraft, right, remember that fear of zero. If you hit that zero, that $1,000 will kick in and pull from them. Over to the side is where we'll have reserves account, and this is where we save money, right? So first, that 1 month reserves. You kind of want that separate from your monthly bills account and your overdraft or emergency account. Once you have those three set up and you're feeling good and you're starting to kind of work ahead, then you want to set up your on-deck account, right? So you will have your on-deck account. This is where all your paychecks go in, and the money will sit there until you do your budget and you kind of disperse it out into your savings, your reserves account, your emergency fund, and your spending account. This is what our budgeting sheet looks like. I know it probably feels very overwhelming right now, but we will break it down for you and make it feel very simple. We'll play in here together today, and it's a really, really super cool tool for you all. Before we move forward, do you guys have any questions on any of the overdraft accounts, terms, any of that kind of stuff?
Nope.
Good. I'm
Nope.
doing a good job then. Hopefully it's all making sense for you. Again, if you're looking through this afterwards and you have questions, feel free to reach out.
I got a quick one for you, Matt.
Yeah.
Um, on the debt snowball, are there certain kinds of debts that you wouldn't use the debt snowball for? Or like, are we just trying to get rid of everything? Are there like good
The
debts,
big
bad debts?
Yeah, great question. There is kind of a difference between good debt, bad debt, right? We're not so much worried about things like your mortgage or your car. Those are more installment loans, and they're not so much bad debt as like credit card debt. So credit card debt is really what we want to target first, and want to make sure we're working to pay off. So I would pay off the credit card debt and then work to our 3 months reserves. And then once we have our 3 months reserves and we're saving, our 10% of our paycheck each month, and we want to start throwing money at the installment debts, why not, right? But first, let's really focus on the debt snowball with the credit cards, getting those reserves built up, and then we can kind of come back to some of that good debt. But great question, Nathan.
Cool, thanks.
So we're going to get to the fun part now, which is playing with the budget. We're going to do this by going to our website, thecowartteam.com. And this is where you'll access a lot of the resources that we have for you guys after our program today. So you'll just go to your browser and again, type in thecowartteam.com. You'll scroll over here to resources, webinars, and then click budget like a boss. Once you are on this page, you'll access all of our budgeting information. So here is the presentation that we are talking about today. There's a recording here that you can watch through. I believe this is actually Nathan's lovely face doing the Budget Like a Boss presentation. So you can watch this and always follow along with him, pause, fast forward, rewind, whatever you want to do. There is going to be this folder here that you will click, and this will take you to a Google Drive where you can download the spreadsheet along with other instructions that are typed out. If you're more of a person who learns by reading, right? That is all there for you as well. Also know that there's other information here about other webinars. In addition to Budget Like a Boss, we also do Buying Here Now and The Game of Money. So the dates for each of those is here. But big thing for you guys is the resources folder. You'll click into that resources folder, and what you'll pull up is this budgeting template. So this budgeting template is what we're going to play in today. And this is yours to save to your desktop, edit, and make it everything you want it to be. Now, before we dive in here, I want to make sure you can see what's going on my screen. Do I need to make things bigger? Can you see everything? Kind of what's the general vibe?
Looks pretty good. Maybe zoom in just like one click. Yeah, that looks good, better.
Okay, perfect. So this is our budget spreadsheet. We'll start at the top and kind of work our way down. The top here is going to have kind of your theme for the month, right? So when you're starting out, your theme really should be just get started. Don't worry about being perfect again, just worry about starting to use the budget spreadsheet. You'll put the month here. So this month is July. And the spreadsheet is also tabbed down at the bottom, so you don't have to, make a new one every month. But we're going to work in the kind of this example section here. On the left-hand side, this is kind of where we start with the columns, and our year is 2025. Column 1 is where you're going to kind of list out all of the bills that you have to pay. Kind of think of like brain dumping here, right? So mortgage, auto payment, credit cards, student loans, gas, even your spending money. Think kind of broader categories, right? We have groceries, but you could also have eating out here. Um, so anything you spend money on, you're going to break down into a category here. There's also areas for things like giving and savings, all that fun. Late on the 15th. So that my cell phone, that auto drafts on the 13th. If you have passwords, right, you can put websites and usernames here. So anything you want to use as far as notes, however this best help you keep track. One of the ways I personally use it is I put what something is auto drafting from and when it auto drafts, and that's what I use this for. Things like Dominion, I have my Dominion login there. So when I'm working the budget, if I want to go in and pay my bill right then and there, all that stuff is hyperlinked and I can do that there. So there's lots of cool stuff you can do here in column 2. Column 3 is where our survival number comes in, right? So this is going to be everything that we must pay in order to survive. So we'll go through really quick, right? So let's say our mortgage is $2,000. Is a mortgage something that we have to pay in order to survive? Is this something that should be in our survival number?
Yes.
Yes.
You gotta live somewhere.
Right? Our electric is something we have to pay. We want to have the lights on. We'll say cable is $100. Spending money, I don't really need spending money, right? If times are tight, I don't need spending money, so we'll leave that there. Gas, I drive a car, so I need to get to work to make money, so I probably need that there. Student loans, I don't want to be late, so I have to make my minimum payment. Anything like your credit cards as well, this number and the survival number, that's going to be your minimum payment. That is going to be what you have to pay if times get tight, not what you're paying towards the debt snowball method. I have to pay my car payment. Have an expensive car. Trash, water, utilities, cell phone, gym. I don't have to pay if times get tight. Home repair, I can make repairs myself. The yard, I can take care of myself. Groceries, yeah, I have to eat. I have a family. We got to feed them. Medical bills. If I have a medical bill and there's a minimum payment, I would want to put that in because, again, we don't want to fall behind. The pet, unfortunately, will have to eat too if times get tough. So we'll put that money in there. But birthday, friend, eating out, none of those things are things that have to happen if times get tough. So none of those are numbers that we'll put in. So that is column 3. Next, we will go to column 4. Column 4 is going to be our actual expenses. So if there's things like our mortgage, our actual expense, we're going to carry that over. My snowball. So instead of 25, I'm actually going to pay 50. I'm going to keep my minimum. Gas. Okay. What am I actually going to spend? I will want some spending money, so I'll give myself $200. This we will all keep the same. Gym is $30. Dry cleaning is $50 a month. Home repair, I don't have any home repairs. I do have to pay the guy to cut my yard $25 a week. Because it's the summertime. Groceries I'm gonna keep when not 4,400. When times are not tough, I like to eat out, so I'll budget, $100 a week for eating out. Medical bills, I'll keep making those monthly payments. Clothes, again, let's say I spend $25 a week on clothes. Um, daycare, we have to pay for the kids to be so that should be 75. So we'll just keep filling this out. I don't have any birthdays this month, so I don't have to worry about that stuff. So I'm going through and I'm filling in everything that is in my survival number and what I'm actually paying towards those debts or towards my mortgage or whatever those expenses are each month. Um, and then this amount is where I'm going to put my savings. But before I look at my savings, the next thing I want to look at is kind of my net income, what's coming in each month. So I know I work one job and I make $4,000 a month at my first job. I make $3,000 a month at my second job. So in total, I have $7,000 a month, right? Now, the goal of this sheet is to have everything even out. So you want columns 4 and 5 to equal column 6. So right now, I know that I make $7,000 a month, and I've only allocated for $6,035. So I have $965 left over. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that towards my reserves. Well, actually, first thing is to fill out my overdraft account. So I'm actually going to put it towards my. So I'm really close to my $1,000. So now we've equaled our $7,000. The cool thing here is that this sheet does a lot of tallying for you. So as you're saving money, it'll add it up. It'll tell you what percentage of your paycheck or the money you've earned you've saved each month. And it'll also automatically give you what your 3x survival number or your 3x reserves is. So that's super helpful. It'll all tally as you go through and add it up. This sheet is really cool, all the formulas that it has. One of the things you can do when you're working in this sheet as well is you'll see this green box here. You can copy this green box. When you go to the next month, highlight that same green box. Everything's moved over from the last month to the next month. So you can go through and make edits, right? So everything's carried over. Now let's say I want to pay more towards my credit card. I know that I actually made $50 extra in my job. So I now have more to put in savings. So I'm going to put that here. So I had what? 965 before. So I'll put 35 in my overdraft refill account. So now my 1,000. Next, I'm going to work towards my 1x survival. So we'll just So I have $9.55 to put in my survival account. But that's just an easy way for the copy and paste to make everything easy each month without having to really start from scratch each month. I know we ran through that super quick. We only have about 10 minutes left. There's a couple more things to cover, and I want to make sure we have time for your questions. But how does that feel after going through the columns and the sheet work? Do you guys feel like you have a good idea of kind of what each column is for and how the budget sheet works?
Yeah, looks good.
Awesome. Carrie, any questions on your end?
I actually couldn't access it. When I went to the folder, it brought up, it said there were no files there.
Everything will be loaded into it after our presentation tonight. So give us tomorrow or Thursday and we'll have all that stuff in there for you.
And not a problem. Then yes, it looks all great.
Awesome. All righty.
And one of the things too, I'll just call out, we'll put in there is we have like a guide on how to do the budget that's all typed out. So, in addition to the play-by-play in the recording, you can also follow along with written instructions there.
Yeah, and the guide is really cool because it's also color coordinated. It walks back through the overview of the account. And then revisit any of that stuff. Oops. All right. So our challenge to you is to take 1 hour this week. Again, we work our budget on the 1st and the 15th. So the 1st is Friday. Listen to the podcast after this class while looking at the spreadsheet. Start planning for your next month. Check in around the 15th and spend another hour with the sheet. Let us know once you have completed our challenge. Text the team phone, email our team email, or email whoever you work with on our team and say, hey, I completed our budget challenge, and you guys will be entered to win a gift card. So we want to put our money where our mouth is. So we really believe in this and want you guys to take advantage of it. So this is our challenge to you. Again, we have our upcoming Zoom seminars. In addition to Budget Like a Boss, we have the Game of Money. This is kind of our talking about additional saving, investing, and other ways to build wealth. Kind of the next step after Budget Like a Boss. And then after that, we have How to Buy Here Now. This is a class where we talk about what it's like to buy a home in the current market. Whether you bought a home last year or 15 years ago, it's always different depending on the certain time you're buying because the market's always a little different. So that's a good class for you or anyone you know who's thinking of buying. And don't forget to visit thecowartteam.com. Again, we have a lot of good resources there and all of our events live there as well. Don't forget we have a podcast. The podcast is available on Spotify and Apple. You can download it there. In addition to Budget Like a Boss, there's lots of different other really cool topics there as well. If you want to start listening or thinking about investing in real estate once you purchase your first home, there's a whole podcast about different types of investors. So hop on, listen to that. A really cool tool that you have at your disposal is this podcast. And finally, if you know someone that's thinking about moving or buying a home, let us know. In the world of internet lenders, we get better results. We want to help listen, create a plan, advise, and help families win on homes. We have a ton of experience that we have to help make the buying process smooth. So all you need to do when you hear somebody thinking of buying a home is say, oh, hey, I know a great local mortgage lender. Let me introduce you. Even if they're already pre-approved or they say, oh, I've already talked to XYZ Bank. If you're here, you probably know that we do things a little bit differently and we offer a little bit more love and care. So they may not know what they're missing out on until they know that we exist. So we would love to talk to them. You can give them our direct contact information or the team contact information, and we will take it from there. We got out 5 minutes early, guys. I kept my word and I get you out on time. I want to thank everybody for attending. Our contact information is here, but before we sign off, do either of you guys have any questions for us?
Not at this time, but thank you for all this information. It was a nice little head start.
Awesome. We'll get those pieces of information on your way to managing your money and earning a gift card potentially.
Great. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you
You
all
all
for
take care.
joining
We'll
us.
talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.